just wanted to jump on quickly because I am in the middle of planning, or rather, I have a newsletter that I'm in the middle of writing, or mostly written rather, that's going to announce this thing. This is Sightless, of course. And I was like, well, I mean, I should probably like spruce up the front page, so I wrote myself, I mean, I can use it now to plan itself. So that's useful. But indeed, the front page just looks like that because it's just a utilitarian, got the contents of each of these guys, the issue networks in them. That's all it does, is links to that. So I was like, well, I should make like a one-off front page for it. So now the problem with the one-off front page, so the way that I would do that, the way that intertwingler does that, is you can just chuck a static page in. The problem when you chuck a static page is that it doesn't have any of the dynamic links, right? So these links are in the database. And so what I want to do is create like a transform. So an intertwingler's got these transforms that basically filter the content. I want to have like a forward links one. So I've got a backlinks one already. And so this is something that I did last night. So there's already a backlinks one. And what I want to do is create a forward links one as well. So part of that was actually updating the backlinks one, because the backlinks one wasn't very good anyway. Like it did a bunch of wrong stuff. Like it did a bunch of redundant links, and we don't want to have redundant links. That's just more to parse, more to generate, just more work for the computer to do when it doesn't need to do it. So this raised issues as well. For example, so in the filter pipeline, or in the transform pipeline, it's grabbing RDF graph data out of the representation, so out of the page with RDFA. And so the problem with that is it's redundant, right? Like you execute the computation, you get the data out, then you throw it away, and then you do it again. So that's just wasteful. And so, while I was working on this, I was thinking about a way. Now, I didn't execute on it. While I was working on this, I was figuring out maybe, so the way that the transformation pipeline works is that, like, if stuff is like in the same process, well, what it does is it's got this, basically it's like a fake monad, like so it'll have the text representation of the output, and it'll have like the DOM tree representation like in the same thing in parallel, like depending on how you ask for it, is the one that you get. And I just do that basically because I want to save on parsing. So for transforms that are in the same process, in the same pipeline, that you don't have to do duplicate work like parsing and serializing and parsing and serializing over and over again. So I was thinking like, oh well, what if I chucked like an RDF graph into that monad as well? That's basically what this little guy is about up here. But I'm not going to do that quite yet because we're not, like, there's not a lot of worry. And also, it turned out that there was a problem with that, because like, if you change the document significantly at the markup level, like you're going to have to reparse that RDFA anyway. So that was just requiring some more thinking. But given that I have this forward links transform now, the problem is I got to, of course, get it into the transform queue. And of course, I've got like a database full of data, and now I need to change it. Now, the way that you do that with RDF is you do it, well, I mean, you can do it other ways, but you do it with Sparkle. I made a Sparkle script that did that. But the problem is it didn't update actually in all of the graphs. And so this is not correct. And it turns out that there's actually a bug in I'm not going to zoom into these because just because of the time it takes to load, and that is one thing that I'm working on as well is the load time on the pages. But I was just going to draw attention to, like, if you see these like these triangles, this kind of thing shows up a lot. And I also just want to remark too that, like, you can tell that this is like a weedy thing because like the bulk of the graph is like shoved over into the corner. The thing in the center, of course, is this thing. But you can tell that it's weedy because, you know, because it's off, like it's sort of pushed everything off into the corner. And so if you look at the center, you know, if I were to grab, you know, something like this, ooh, that layout needs to be fixed. But anyway, you grab something like this, and you can see, and this is actually merging two graphs together, the MVP and the front end graph, or issue network, whatever. You can see that that this is a central thing, and this has got a very straightforward, you know, I mean, assuming you understand what the process model ontology is, you can see that like the graph is like relatively centered around here, and then all of that stuff we were just looking at is down here somewhere. And so the representation of the graph, we'll just go back to that. You can sort of see the centrality, or rather the thing in focus is always in the center, but the rest of the graph is going to get pushed off to the side, and that's just part of the representation. Now I do just remark quickly that this is hyperbolic space, and so these lines are like miles long, and they're like you know, millimeters long for the top level stuff. So that's just math that I've got to fix. So it probably won't look as extreme when I do that. Anyway, I just wanted to quickly show how I'm using Sense Atlas to design itself and all of the bugs that ensue. Anyway, I'm gonna finish my coffee.